Greetings, African family. Greetings in the honorable spirit of our great and mighty African ancestors. Today I would like to discuss the issue of reparation as we continue with Clear Thinking with Brother Dulani. Welcome, my people. This is an introduction to the subject of reparation. Now, reparation is a very significant and serious matter and issue for our people. There are many today that are fighting tirelessly day in and day out to bring about reparative justice for African people. I believe that all African people are due reparations. Reparation is due to all Africans, wherever you are, in the Caribbean, on the African continent, in North America, South America, in Europe. All African heritage people are due reparation. Now, what is reparation and why is reparation necessary? Reparation is necessary to repair the damage that was done to our people in the last 3 or 4 centuries. Our people have endured a devastating genocidal attack that have maimed and crippled many of our people. We have been visited with atrocities that's unimaginable. Inhumane treatment, exploitation, rape, ravages. We have been damaged psychologically. We have been damaged economically. We have been damaged organizationally, politically, socially. Significantly, we have been damaged all across the board. And this damage still transcends to this generation today. All of us, African heritage people, have been damaged by enslavement and colonization. The very fact that I'm speaking to you in the language of our oppressor is a testimony to the damage that we can currently experience. We have to understand this and come to terms with this. The names that we carry is an indication. These names that we carry are names of our enslavers, our oppressors, our colonizers. The name that we pass on to our children. Only damaged people does that. That honor those people that oppress them, that exploit them, that enslave them. We honor them by passing on their names to our children. That's how damaged we are. The psychological damage that we experience today is deep. We are deeply damaged people. And we need to come to terms with that. Many of our people right now are walking around with warped identity crisis. They don't like their black self or their black history or the African self. They renounce their ancestors because they're ashamed to be an African. They're ashamed to be a member of this great and glorious African race because we've been damaged. And that damage being passed on to generation and visit onto us. The level of self-hate and Afrophobia is real in our people, amongst our people. We know that the Western society have a great Afrophobia problem, where they fear African people. But what is even more disturbing is that many of our people also have a fear of ourselves, have a fear of who we are, and are ashamed of who we are. That is a result of the Mangamizi. That is a result of the continuum of the genocidal attack on our people. It attack our psychology. If you look at our culture has been warped and distorted. You know, even our genetics have been impacted by the enslavement and colonization and the rape. We've been impacted deeply. And we got to come to terms with these things as we move forward as a people. We can't ignore these realities. And reparation is needed for the re-Africanization of our people, to get our people right, to fix the damage that's been done. All these colonial empires and institutions and nations that have damaged African people have just walked away. They damaged us, they exploited us, took all the wealth, took all the resources, and just abandoned and think that it's over. But reparation is about holding them accountable for the damage that they have done to our ancestors and the damage that they have done to us who are alive today. We are damaged. We're damaged economically. The wealth that's been accumulated in the last 4 or 5 centuries has been amassed in the hands of one set of people, the colonizers and the exploiters. They have been the beneficiary of the wealth that was created by our ancestors. They have used that wealth to go and build Europe and build America and build Canada. So where now they can live and they have big social safety net to look after their people, while African people is left behind and destitute. When you look at our situation in the 50s and 60s, where I've seen recently pictures from in the 50s, when people in Nigeria, in Yoruba land the children was going to school naked as the day they was born, going to primary school. Not even shoes, clothes, not even underwears, naked. That was the condition that they abandoned our people in. And they took all that wealth and built Europe, France, Portugal, Spain, Britain, United Kingdom, UK, whatever you want to call it. All of Europe benefited from the enslavement of African people. America became powerful and wealthy off of the back of almost 300 years of free labor that our ancestors poured into that nation. And those plantocracy, those plantation owners, those enslavers walk away with all of the benefit, all of the profits of our labor. They took it and amassed themselves great wealth and left our people in destitute, locked our people out of the advancement of industrialization, locked our people out of the economic development of the last 200-300 years, while they sit back and pass on that knowledge and that technology and that scientific development that was taking place, that they invested into of the free labor and the wealth that they accumulated from our ancestors. And not to mention the trauma that our ancestors had to endure on those plantations. The hurt, the pain, all those things that we had to endure and pass on for generation to generation. And we see it manifest today. Then when you look around the world, almost in every country, in every situation, African people is at the bottom of every indices of progress. African people at the bottom. And when it comes to ailment of ill health, we're at the top. Diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, heart disease, stress, depression. African people are still enduring that in our DNA from that traumatic experience that we've been through as a people. And it has made us stronger and more resilient. And that's why we're standing now strong enough to fight for reparation, fight for reparative justice, to saying that this harm, this damage that they have done to us today cannot continue. The whole economic game is a monopoly, and the game has been stacked against us. We have to start at the bottom, start to crawl our way to the top, or crawl our way into the game when they have 100% of the wealth. Or at least 97%, according to some of the statistics I've seen, that African people in the West probably got 1 or 2% of the wealth. And that was even after slavery, and even today is the same proportion. 1 or 2% of the wealth in America. And it's similar dynamics in other parts of the world, where African people only own just a tiny fraction of the resources. So we have to be clear that without reparative justice, that 1% is not going to move. Without the demand for redistribution of wealth, without the demand for the governance structure to be restructured, for power to be redistributed, for the economic system to be rearranged, the political order to be rearranged, without that happening, my people, true reparation won't be a reality. So not only reparation deals with compensation, which many people know about. That's one aspect of reparation. There's also rehabilitation. Our people are desperately in need of rehabilitation. The psychological wound and damages that we have today need to be rehabilitated. And we also need restoration. We need to restore our African culture, which is another pillar of reparation, which is we got compensation, we got rehabilitation, and then we got restitution. We need to be restored, which include repatriation, to be repatriated and rematurated to our homeland of Africa, and to be re-Africanized. To get to understand and know who we are, using every tools available to us, including genetics, to tie us back to our motherland, so we can reconnect to our African culture and African families. That is very important. And to reclaim all those artifacts that was looted from Africa need to be restored back to Africa and to African people in their rightful place, including African people. That's very important. And then there's also another very important pillar of reparation, which is guarantee of non-repetition. It has to be a situation where what happened to us and is happening to us now will never happen again. That no African people will ever have to experience what we experience. Guarantee of non-repetition. And the only way that's going to be guaranteed is if we got military guaranteed. We need to have enough technology and scientific power to guarantee that that would never happen to us. No colonizers, no invaders can ever come and invade us and colonize us and enslave us again. Could never happen. That is something that is a principle of reparation. And then there's another part, another pillar of reparation, which is satisfaction. That's when we have come to terms with our past. When we have come to terms with those institutions and individuals that have wronged us, that's done us grave injustice. And we have come to a settlement that is acceptable to us for 7 generations to come. And we can build monuments to our great ancestors. And we can have tribunal where our people can freely discuss the trauma of living with that pain of enslavement and colonization, and how it has ruined and destroyed our lives, and how we have been able to triumph despite this atrocity that visited upon us. That healing, that satisfaction we have to get in this process. And those are just 5 pillars according to international law. But as African people, we know that's just the beginning, that's the floor. We got much greater things that need to be done. The repairing needs to start on the very grassroots, on the ground where our people are. The homelessness, the jobless, the uneducated, those who have been impacted by mental condition, mental health issues that exist amongst our people need to be addressed. We need to repair those type of damage, and advocate that all effort of reparation have to start with those people who are more significantly damaged, who are visibly damaged. that you cannot deny that these people are sick. They have been brutalized over the years and over the centuries, and it shows up in this generation. Many of the landless, those who have been locked out of the economic system, been locked out of the educational system, because we had to be cultivated to go into European institutions and learn to become Europeans, become clones of Europeans. And many of our people were not equipped for that, because we're an African people. And the education system was a Eurocentric system. And many of our elders resisted. Our spirit didn't dwell with that. It didn't sit well with the spirit of many of our ancestors. So we was locked out of that process, because the cultural genocide really isolated many of our people. And they've been left out of the economic system, left out of the land, left out of the resources, out of the industry. Because what these neo-colonialists have done is just maintain the order. They maintain the same economic dynamics that existed during our colonization, continue to this very day. Those same forces that own the vast majority of the land during colonization still do today. Those industries that existed during colonization and enslavement, those very same people still own those industries. That should have never happened. But because we were not strong enough, because we was at a vulnerable position after enslavement, they took advantage of us. And after direct colonization, they took advantage of our weakness, our lack of education, a lack of Africation, a lack of organization. We was in a vulnerable position where we was fighting for survival, was fighting just to stay alive, to put food on our table, to take care of our children. So they took advantage of our weakness. But we still rise, we still strive, we still triumph, we still didn't give up. To this generation now is learning the lessons of previous generation. We are reading the books, we are learning the experience, we're talking to our elders, and we're learning what happened. And as a result, we're getting stronger to demand reparation, to fight for reparation, to take reparation, to enforce reparation. It is our duty. So no matter how great you are, no matter how good you have made it, how far you have made it, you still have a duty to fight for reparative justice for your people. You still have to stand up and fight for it. We all got to fight for it. When you hear the call for reparation, you need to get involved. It's an international call. All over the Caribbean, you hear the bell of reparation ringing. But you need to get involved. Learn who is involved and join in this historical battle, this historical struggle for reparative justice, to fix the damage that was done to our people, so we can have true justice in any area that African people control, in every country that African people are in control. It should be a country designed to restore our people, to restore our culture, to restore our mind, to make sure that we all benefit from the economic development of that country. And those resources, all African people should benefit from it. So these neo-colonial governments, they need to be held accountable. We need to push them to demand reparation from these colonial powers, these great big empires around the world who are parlaying themselves as a big Western imperialist forces, notably United States of America, Great Britain, Canada. They are now the bastions of our Western imperialism. They're parading around the world as the virtues of morality and democracy and culture, but they won't own up to the damage that they have done to our people. They don't even respect us enough to acknowledge what they have done to our people. And some people are demanding that they apologize. They won't even acknowledge that, the harm that they have done. They pretend like everything is fine, when we know the majority of our people are suffering. The majority of people are catching hell because we're living in an unfair system and the deck is stacked against us. The whole economic order is stacked against African people. And we got to start from the bottom, and we got to start from behind in a race that has taken off long time ago. And now we're expected to compete at the highest level. But we're here and we're going to compete. We're still going to do what we have to do to fight for our children, to fight for better schools, for better infrastructure, to take care of the elders. We're still going to fight for put food on our table, but we're still going to fight for reparation. This is only an introduction to the subject of reparation. I'll be revisiting this over and over again, looking at various aspects of how reparation is affecting our lives. So stay tuned, my people, as we continue on this journey of clear thinking with Brother Dulani. Thank you for joining me on this program. Please tell me what you think. Please like, please comment, and please share this platform so we can have this discussion amongst our people. Reparation is a must. We have to fight. We have to fight to secure reparation. We have to stop this Mangamizi. And I'll be telling you, before I go, you can look up the Stop the Mangamizi campaign to get more information on the reparation struggle. The international social movement for African reparation. Go online and type in Stop the Mangamizi. Mangamizi is spelled Mangamizi. So that's Stop the Mangamizi. Just type it into Google and learn more about this struggle for African reparation. Thank you, my people, for joining me. Until next time, this is Brother Dulani. Peace.